Hi everybody, welcome to this weekly live session that we have on Instagram. As you might have noticed, I am in a different venue than my usual place. I'm actually at Alexis' place, and since he's been away, he's been vacationing a bit and had taken a little bit of a break, well-deserved break. I did invade his house while taking care of his kitty. And decided to do it here this time around, since I will be by myself mostly. As you might have noticed, we took a little bit of a break last week. We kind of needed it, and we're kind of overworked. Even with this pandemic thing, we still put a lot of effort and a lot of energy in the last few months with the rebranding and the rest. So all the team decided that yes, 1 week could have been wise not to do the live and actually come back with much more energy and a new interesting subject to discuss. I see Mrs. Schiffman that has joined, like talking about our staff, and actually this week. We are going to talk about the rock contest. So if you might have followed the last time we did it, we also invited the winner to talk about their project and how they developed their own selection of images, how they approached the subjects, and so on. And we're going to do the same this week. So that's we're going to have our winner, Pegah Vaez. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but they're gonna join us briefly and talk about it more. Making a small recap, last subject of the contest was actually about a poem. We chose a poem by Robert Frost, actually the last part of the poem by Robert Frost. This poem that is called Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. And it is a poem that focuses a lot about nature and the feeling of it in regards to the human condition, and especially in regards to a little bit of self-destructive feeling of it. So having this color void in the woods in the middle of the night in the winter, and stopping by to admire its beauty but being overwhelmed at the same time. So yeah, it was kind of a difficult subject. We thought it might be a little bit more helpful than what we had done previously, but and this is my fault, I tried to approach it more from a feeling point of view, from not so much more visual or a concept, but more emotional. But I do recognize it was not the easiest, so it's my fault. In any case, Pegah did an amazing job at it, and we're briefly going to talk with him on more into depth of what he did. But yeah, I mean, it was not an easy subject, and as I mentioned before, I did not ask them, like all the participants, to approach it directly or like literally, so not literally going into the woods and taking a picture of the woods. I mean, if they wanted to do it, they would have been perfectly fine, but we were looking a little bit more into the inspired feeling of it, into the critique of the piece, into understanding more what the what had to be done, what had to be felt by this contact with nature. Personally, in the last few months with the pandemic and so on, I just really felt like I was missing this connection with nature and with the landscape behind, or around my house or around the places where I would find myself. And I thought that it was actually a feeling that was shared by a lot of people. Hopefully it was, maybe it was. But like you really feel confined sometimes within these four walls, within the concrete of your house, even though you love where you live and you love the objects that you have around you and the people that you share them with. Still, sometimes the feeling of nature itself, it is very, very much different. And actually, also the project, the selection and the submission that Pegah made also revolves around this natural element in it. So he focused also on another aspect, which was the anxiety, but especially on this natural element of it. And he made a really good interpretation of it in a way. I'm trying to see if I can add him. Let's see if he join us, so that we can actually chat, both of us, and it's not just me talking about his work, but we can hear from him a little bit better, you know. Yeah, let's see if it's doable. But in any case, I was very happy with what he submitted, not only regarding what he did, but also how he managed to cram something so relatable and complex as anxiety into just 4 pictures, which is not something that a lot of people know how to do. And still no word. Let's see if we don't have to restart it though. I really hope that's not the case. In any case, as I said, maybe I could talk a little bit more about the oh my god, Instagram, you're killing me today. Really? Hi, Photo Basel. Talking about Photo Basel. Hi, finally.
Hi.
Okay, we did it. Despite the Instagram.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. Yeah, I do.
My mic. Oh no. It's working, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. So I think Tatiana sent you a couple of the questions that I had for you, but we can also just talk about your project if you feel more comfortable about it. So what do you prefer?
We also can start with the questions if you want.
Okay, so I think one of the question was a bit more about how you approach the subjects by making such a small selection. So what was your approach towards that? Why did you choose the topic of anxiety?
I always start with the emotion when I face the subject. So check the subject, which emotions are coming through my mind. When I have the emotions, I know for this project. So I think the emotions are for me the main base to build a project on these. When I know which emotions I have in my mind, so I can start thinking about this connection between the project and my emotions, and so the concept is shaping and growing.
Okay. And did you know the poem before the contest?
No.
Were you familiar with it? No.
No. I Robert Frost, I know him, but
yeah,
I didn't read about this poem. No.
Okay, and so talking more about the emotion, what is that you thought the emotion was in the poem when you read it?
I think you can interpret this poem like maybe something lovely for nature, some kind of love for nature, but for me it was like more, I say, disturbing, more anxiety, fear. This was my emotions. I think it's a good thing for poems. Everyone can interpret how they want. So for me was this kind of fear and anxiety, this emotion. I had to follow for this project.
Yeah, it is actually quite a dark poem, even though it's like it finishes with the woods are lovely, dark and deep.
Yeah.
But it's this dark and deep that actually feels you a lot more threatened by the woods themselves.
Yeah.
That I do agree and I do share with you. So I'm looking a little bit at your statement also that I have here. And I really liked how the fact that you took anxiety, so like this emotion that you felt when reading the poem, and you chose to break it down into smaller bits.
Yeah, that was this approach from that you these words for me stand for your mind, the anxiety, your mind. They can seduce you to the words. You can lose yourself there. And now times with this COVID and this pandemic, I think it's a very current topic. So everyone knows this anxiety, this fear in this year. So that you don't have to seduce the anxiety you to go to the woods. I think you can break with this process. And when you are able to break with this process, I think there are a couple of pieces of mind maybe, but you can put them away and live better. Yeah.
Okay, and you actually literally cut the pieces.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the people that look at us are familiar, like they saw what we featured of your photos in the previous couple of days, but they are like this abstract pieces of fruit and vegetables that you took,
Yeah.
and you highlight, like you cut them so thinly that you actually see only the structure, so you don't really notice that it's something recognizable.
Yeah.
So. I like this approach with that.
Sorry, it was I first had another approach for this project, but I wasn't so convinced about the first idea. So the knife story was that my dad had birthday, and I bought him this very sharp knife in the kitchen to cut with these quality knives. And it was his birthday. I gave it to him, and he started to testing fruits and vegetables, and he took one of this tomato and put it to the window. And there was the link, because I think you have to absorb your environment and always walk around with your eyes wide open to get inspiration, because I think everything is connected. You can find the connection to your subject if you are walking around with eyes wide open and checking everything. You have to connect. I saw it and I thought, oh, it's looking a little bit disturbing, but interesting, and it's a part of nature. So this was the way where the start of the beginning, the concept, where I thought, okay, this is the main idea I have to follow.
That's really nice. And you also share this memory about your father, so I guess it's also something that comforts you. Of that, like that memory, it's also something that somehow comforts you. So you took it as an entry point to approach something like anxiety, which is actually very debilitating at times.
Yeah, sure. For me, this was the main entry point to this project. Convincing for me.
Wait, I think there is a little bit of connection issues.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, you're back. Should be back.
Okay, sorry, I think my internet is sometimes.
Oh God, yes, we're killing it today, right? Wonderful. But probably we'll also feature more the photographs from Pegah, visual reference with that. And we left. Okay, wonderful. So let's try and invite him back. Not that easy. Or maybe it is. I do apologize for this interruption. Yeah. Okay, we're
So,
back.
sorry, I'm back. I don't know. My internet sometimes losing the connection.
Yeah, sometimes it is. But so you were saying about the approach, about this memory that you have of your father cutting the slice.
Yeah.
Um,
So this was the entry point for me to the concept where I was this final main idea for me to follow. So a point that this was the main point for me, and I don't thought before that about this vegetable stuff that I had a completely idea for that, but I was happy that the link was.
And I also remember because you entered the contest, also the first subject. So I also remember your series that you submitted, and it had flowers as a main subject. So are you quite interested by this natural element of it, or like this?
Yes, I think I'm not so like the nature photographer and not going out for landscape stuff, but I love the details of nature. That's what's interesting for me.
Okay. And okay, wonderful. I mean that was very interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And how do you think that? I mean, if you had the chance to have your project a little bit more expanded, maybe the series, would you be? I don't know. Would you think about adding a few more structures, a few more photos, or do you think that the selections that you made is actually?
I think this would be the idea for me to add more pictures to the project. I just made it now for the 4 ones because I don't want to send in 10 or 20 pictures, but I think I would try and experiment with this vegetables, fruits, maybe other stuff. I mean, the knife is very sharp, so I think
You can cut a lot of stuff with it. Yes.
I have to be careful because it's very sharp.
It's very sharp. And can I was also a little bit more interested on your technical process. So you do it with natural light.
Yes.
So there is no stage light.
No, there's no stage light. This was just natural light. So I'm more into this to take photos with natural. Sometimes if I need it, I put some lights there, but this was just light.
And so yeah, and it's a personal preference. So there is or it was just like the specific light in your kitchen that really worked for you.
Yeah, I think the sunlight is more a light source and was the perfect way for it.
Okay. And what do you think? We can maybe talk a little bit more about your interest in photography. Like, how did you approach it, or what is a little bit your background about it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can tell something about my story. So I studied design with the main focus on photography, graphic design. CGI is called computer generated imaging. This is where I work in as a 3D artist. But photography was always just my passion, and I started very in the beginnings of my youth. And yeah, it's my passion. I like it. It's for me good when I'm not working. I'm doing my 3 projects, and I can do what I want.
And how do your other studies help you with in photography, or do they come into play when you're making photography, when you're taking shots?
Yeah, the other projects, they are more like street photography stuff. So it's the first time here I started with the raw contest with real projects in my private life. When I was studying, I had many projects, but now this first time here, and it was a good time because of the pandemic. So I was at home and free time to be creative. So was good possibility for me.
And you said that you don't really you don't photograph nature as much as going and outside and taking landscapes. So your main interest is in still life right now, because I saw your last entries, and also it was very much still life
Yeah,
focused.
this is a new way I found for me. Most of the time I was in the street photos, but now I think it's an interesting way for me to take photos of this still life stuff. Yeah, it's, for me a new way to be creative.
And what was your first approach to photography? As in, what was your first subject that you fell in love with?
First subject is was a long time ago. I think it was always taking portraits of my family, of if there are newborn babies in the family. This was the beginning when I in my I think I started with 7 maybe, or 6, 7, and yeah, so, and my friends most of the time people that when people in my image. So most of the time people, family.
That's nice. And of course, I guess you started with film.
Yes, I started with film, but I was always hoping for the digital.
Digital.
I like film, but for me, I like it more to see the image when I take it. I think, but I started with film, yeah, old Nikon cameras for my dad, and yeah, Hasselblad, these old ones, and I started with that. I like film, I like the look, but yeah, I think I can be more creative when I take digital cameras and try stuff. Yeah.
By controlling. Yeah, because I mean, I saw your approaches, your photos both from this series and the previous one, and it actually felt very, very film-like, very analog
Yeah.
in that, which is something that is not, in my personal experience, is not that easy to recreate. This kind of analog feeling with a digital camera. I'm not sure if you did it on purpose, but it actually worked.
Yeah, I like the look, the analog look, but I think there are cameras. I think the new Fuji ones, they have these filters. You can analog film if you want, but I did it in the post production like this, slightly contrast and these dark areas like this old Acros film styles and stuff like that. So I'm trying around, but I'm not fixing on I have to do it like old films. Yeah.
And and I can imagine with your background, you actually feel very, very confident and comfortable with digital rendering and with digital control.
Yes, sure. I think for me it's important to use new techniques and new technology. So I'm very bad, and I like that. Yeah.
And have you ever? So you cut off a little bit, but I think I understood that you also do CGI
Yeah, sure.
in your practice. And have you ever thought about incorporating it in your photography,
Yes,
or just experimenting with
yes,
it?
I did it often for automotive stuff, but not for my personal art stuff. Just when I was studying. But now I'm sitting so often in front of the computer so that I'm happy when I can go out with the camera and.
So it's more about the process when you take photos,
Yes,
not about the person.
yeah, about this very authentic process and the yeah, experience I have with going outside, thinking about the subject.
And about the social, yeah, and
It
the
one
emotion.
day I have more free time and I can think about projects where I can combine both.
So yeah, the next step is actually to create your own projects, I think.
Yeah,
So it's easy to do with the assignment, but then I think ultimately is to learn how to select something that fascinates you or that you like and develop it into something that is visually striking or interesting or communicative.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah, I think I had two projects I started before that for myself. Was like this COVID projects in my home here. I think I have some of this just on my Instagram side. But I think also it's time here for me to start to think about new cool projects. Yeah.
New cool projects. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for the inspiration. It was very important. So the beginning, someone is putting me. So okay, we can start now.
Yeah. I mean, as I said in the beginning, was not the easiest subject or approach in any case. So I do apologize for that. But I'm very happy that you have made something so interesting out of it. When you put them out, like the subjects, or you choose something out there, you always hope that someone understands what you meant, but you're not sure until it comes in. Like you're absolutely not sure. So I was really happy to see it. I was really like, yes, yes, actually, he nailed it.
Okay, yeah,
So
it was maybe a bit difficult the project because also a difficult poem maybe to understand. But I think maybe each project can be difficult even if you think it's very simple. I think everything maybe difficult. You have to think.
And also also us as the team behind Chrysalid, we're also trying to slightly change how the approach of it. The previous contests were kind of very direct, sometimes minimalist subjects, and that's also my fault. We are trying to do something a little bit different, a little bit more complicated, but in my opinion, it yields better results already with you'll be in company with Anna. So for in February at the fair, that's gonna be really nice.
Very cool. Yeah,
definitely. And of course we're going to curate it together. So once all the winners have been announced and it's over, then we're gonna curate it together. Select the image is already there, but which paper, which size, how to put it on, what better suits which position. So that's also gonna be interesting.
Yeah, very cool.
In that. And well, I mean, thank you so much for joining us and for the interesting talk.
For the inspiration, for the possibility.
Of course. Of course. Thank you so much. So to the ones watching, we have already announced the third subject, so new subject, which revolves around identity, talking about another easy subject as well. I will probably do another video explanation. Oh, by the way, did it help? The one that I had made last time. I don't know if you watched it. But
I mean the live.
Yeah, that I made like a really long live about the poem and explaining it. So I think I'm gonna do it again, but I don't know if actually it helped people in that. I think I was curious about it.
It was good for me, so I checked it. Towards the Instagram stuff to watch that. I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for the feedback. That's also something that we need, like the feedback, because trying out something new is what you need. So probably I will do it again for the new subjects. Well, I'm very much looking forward to see the whole raw contest in bloom when it's going to be in the container. And also to work with you again on the prints and the showcasing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.